So just a few months ago, Gucci launched Gucci Guilty Absolut Femme, this right here. And now comes Gucci Guilty Oud, this right here, created by Alberto Morillas again. I'm gonna tell you all about this new release from Gucci, coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time on this channel and you love watching fragrance reviews, finding out about fragrances that you haven't heard of, watching lists, watching interviews, and participating in giveaways and still haven't subscribed to this channel, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. And yes, Gucci Guilty Oud has been launched. It's 2018 launch, just came out. It's in the stores right now. It's EDP concentration, created by Alberto Morillas again. He's created Gucci Guilty Absolut Homme, Gucci Guilty Absolut Femme, and now Gucci Guilty Oud. And a 90 ml bottle like this retails for $137. And after my research on the internet with Gucci's website about Gucci Guilty Oud, I've learned that the fragrance was inspired by a walk in a forest. This is a unisex offering, but of course they had Gucci Guilty Homme, this one, and Gucci Guilty Femme, this one. For notes in Gucci Guilty Oud, you have at the top Blackberry, pink pepper, and Bulgarian rose. In the heart you have Goldenwood, Patchouli, and Cypriol. And in the base, you have dark amber, leather, and oud. I read also on Gucci's website, and basically what they did was take these two fragrances, take notes from these two fragrances that are popular, I think. They're pretty original for releases from designers these days. I felt this was a little daring for a designer, which I absolutely love, and I thought this was not necessarily daring, but still very, very good for a designer release. Fruity rose fragrance with patchouli. Both of them are great. I love both of these. So basically, they've taken notes from those two fragrances and created Gucci Guilty Oud from the same perfumer, Alberto Morillas. As soon as you spray Gucci Guilty Oud, Blackberry takes over. It's very fruity at the top, and along with the rose, and it's a little bit spicy. This makes it very, very fruity for me, and I thought, wow, okay, I know about the combination of rose and oud. I've had so many different fragrances that has those two notes together. They work really, really well together, rose and oud. But here, it's rosy, it's got rose, but it's like almost like shadowed with the blackberry note in here. And it starts reminding me of this one, a lot like Gucci Guilty Absolut Femme. So I'm almost thinking like I'm smelling this fragrance where I'm smelling this one. Pink pepper, I guess, does come through, but for me, I don't get a pepper as much as I get cumin. Cumin pops in, and I'm like, that's kind of interesting here. I like what I'm smelling. It's unique, and it's a great start, but just overly fruity. And at this time, I'm thinking, gosh, do blackberries really work with oud? I kind of find that the combination a little weird, but I guess sometimes they work because there are fragrances out there that have like a fruity combination with oud. So it threw me off a little, but it's working, it's not bad. In the heart, the Goldenwood takes over, and I thought the Goldenwood is from the Perfume again. I think it was listed in the notes there, along with the Patchouli and some Cypriol. Now Cypriol is pretty big for me here. It's a bit inky, woody, and smells like a paper and ink together to me. And it's pretty dominant or prominent here. You can pick it up, along with that woody Goldenwood and of course Patchouli. Really, really great heart here. You can still smell the blackberry and rose, but again, blackberry is more dominant for me than the rose. It's really, really fruity. It stands out the most. Not so much the rose, and as I said, it's almost like the blackberry kind of like overshadows the rose, so it becomes like dominant. In the base, finally, dark amber pops through. It does become a little leathery, and of course now you're smelling the oud. The oud is pretty much taken over, but it's the kind of oud that is not overwhelming. It's there, you can smell it, but it's not like an in-your-face kind of oud. It's kind of softer. It's definitely there though. I think for me, with Gucci Guilty Oud, the dominant note is the blackberry with the rose and of course the oud. The oud is king, and then after the oud you got the Cypriol and the patchouli. So those are the major players with this fragrance. I found this to be a little softer than their previous oud, Gucci Intense Oud, which I absolutely love. I love this one. I think it's a great designer oud. It's not necessarily a designer price. It's a little more expensive. It retails for about $140 for a 75 or 90 ml bottle. Again, it's a non-traditional size, but great oud. It's a great designer oud that's not part of like an exclusive collection from the designers. But here, it's a lot softer. It's not as big, it's not as bold, it's not as in your face. It's just a kind of a softer, more mellower oud, a fruitier oud. And I think what they were trying to do is marry these two fragrances together and adding the oud. Now, if that's what they've done, they've kind of left out the vetiver, because I found this to be a dominant note here in Gucci Guilty Absolut Homme, but there's no trace of vetiver here, which I kind of was expecting. But then again, they probably threw that in there and probably didn't work well, so they might have removed it. But I thought the dominant notes here in Gucci Guilty Absolut Homme was the leather, which they have here, and I don't pick up the leather here too much. It's there, but it's not dominant. And then, of course, the vetiver, which they've left out here. But going to the women's, the Perfume, they have both the rose, they have the Blackberry, and of course the Goldenwood and the Patchouli, which is more prominent here in this fragrance. So it's almost like they've taken mostly the women's and created this one. That's why that Blackberry is pretty dominant here. It stands out really big with the oud here. So it's a bit more feminine leaning. Now, if guys, you are into fragrances and you've sampled Gucci Guilty Absolut Perfume and you thought it was a little too feminine, which I find this to be pretty unisex, because the Blackberry is pretty unisex. It's not a flower or anything like that. It's just a fruity fragrance. But some guys might be turned off with this one. So if you think this one's a little bit of a turn off from the Blackberry, then you probably will be turned off with this one as well, because it's pretty big. The Blackberry is pretty big and almost in your face, like the oud should have been here. I think maybe also perhaps the reason they have left off the more dominant notes in this one, is because maybe this was not a success for Gucci, even though I find it to be a great release. I've heard from some retailers that this is not doing well, so they've removed it from selling it in their store, some of the department stores here. So perhaps they left it off because of that. But anyway, it's a decent release. It's good, but it's not a wow for me, unfortunately. It's not like this one. This one's just a great release. This one falls short a little bit. Just that Blackberry contrasts with the oud too much, and it just kind of like, I don't know which direction it's going. So if they had amped up the rose more than the Blackberry, then I think this would have worked out a little better for me than it does now. And the other issue I have with this one is its performance. It's very light on me, even though it starts off pretty big at the top. But once it dries, it's a skin scent for me. I don't have any projection with this one. It doesn't have loudness that I found with this one. And of course, this one, which is actually a beast fragrance, a beast mode fragrance. This one's softer. It's almost like they were targeting women more than men with this one. I don't know, maybe if that makes sense or not, probably not, but I just wanted it to be a little louder, a little more projection. It just didn't last on me too long, and I was a little disappointed with the performance, unfortunately. But other than that, if the Blackberry was toned down a little and the rose was amped up a little more complementing that oud in here, I think it would have been a better release for me. But I still think that Gucci is going in the right direction with fragrances. We've had 4 solid releases from the oud in 2016, the Gucci Guilty Absolut Homme in 2017, the Gucci Guilty Absolut Femme in 2018, and now, several months later, we have the Gucci Guilty Oud, which is actually decent. It's not a bad fragrance. I just wish some of the performance of this fragrance was better and a little bit of the Blackberry was toned down and the rose amped up. Other than that, I think it's still a decent release. Just if you're into the softer scents, I think this one might appeal to you more than if you're looking for beast mode or loud or big projecting kind of fragrances. This is not it. At least it didn't happen on me the several times I've worn it, and that kind of is a disappointment for me, unfortunately. Anyway, that's my review for Gucci Guilty Oud. Have you tried it, guys? Are you familiar with it yet? Are you curious to try this one? Go find out and test it out. I mean, compare these two together and see what I'm talking about. I think you'll know this is a lot softer. Even though it starts off pretty big at the top, it falls kind of soft after at least an hour to an hour and a half. Also, compare it to this. See if they have any similarities. I don't think they do have a lot of similarities because I think they've left off a lot of the notes from here except for the leather. Whereas here, when you compare these two, you're definitely going to notice the similarities with the Blackberry, the Rose, the Patchouli, and the Goldenwood. It's all present here, and I think what they've done is they've been influenced from this fragrance a little too much to create this one. I wish they used this one a little more to make it a little more interesting and beastly kind of a nude, but oh well. You can't have it all, I guess. But let me know if you've tried it, if you're curious to try it, if you have any of the other fragrances that I've mentioned here from Gucci. Do you like Gucci as a brand? Do you hate Gucci as a brand? Please put a comment down. Let's get a conversation started. Also, please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.